Hey there. Happy early Thanksgiving. This year, the secular holiday of Thanksgiving coincides with the last week of the Roman Catholic liturgical year. So we'll start a new church year this Sunday with the beginning of the season of Advent. Thanksgiving offers a great opportunity to reflect back on our lives, recognizing the good things that have been part of our lives up to this point. New Year's, be they liturgical or otherwise, encourage us to look to the future, pondering where we're headed in the days to come. The U.S. bishops have offered numerous options for readings at tomorrow's Thanksgiving Mass. One option, the story of the 10 lepers, brings both of these orientations to the forefront. I had heard this story many times before. It had been a powerful story in my life of healing and gratitude. However, on a pilgrimage to the Holy Land this past year, I gained a new perspective on some details of the story. The text says that Jesus was traveling through Galilee and Samaria on his way to Jerusalem. It was there that he encounters 10 people with leprosy. They plead for his intercession, and he tells them to show themselves to the priests, those who prayed and offered sacrifices in the temple, who are also in Jerusalem. Being in the Holy Land and reflecting on that story, I was struck by what Jesus was actually asking them to do. Depending on where in Samaria this encounter took place, the group of lepers had at least 20 miles ahead of them to walk in order to get to Jerusalem. Plus, their leprosy forced them to the margins of society. They were relegated to the edges of towns and villages. Jesus was asking them to go to the religious and cultural center of the largest, most important city in all of Israel. And on top of that, Jesus was asking them to do this all before they were healed. So in short, Jesus told them to walk for at least 2 days to a place where they were not wanted. Of course, the text tells us that as they were going, they were cleansed of leprosy. But imagine the courage it required to start heading in that direction, to take that first step. One leper, a Samaritan, realizing what had happened, returned to Jesus in order to give thanks. And while this is certainly a story of thanksgiving, it's also a story of immense courage and trust. Jesus himself would have been relying on these virtues, as he was also on his way to Jerusalem for the last time, ultimately moving towards his passion and death. Jesus, in telling the lepers to show themselves to the priests in the temple, was inviting them to do exactly what he was headed to do, in some sense. With the holiday of Thanksgiving, we have a chance to offer gratitude for the blessings we have in our lives, the good things that we have done nothing to deserve. With the ending and beginning of the church year, we look ahead in light of God's call in our lives to where and who we want to be as the new year unfolds. The story of the 10 lepers and Jesus' own story speak to this time in our lives right now. So I ask you, what's one blessing in your life right now? Just one. I encourage you to say a prayer of thanksgiving to God for that gift in your life. And where might God be calling you to go? Maybe it seems difficult, uncomfortable, or downright foolish. What would a first step look like in following God on that? I encourage you to say a prayer asking God for courage and an ability to trust. In closing, I would like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks so much for the ways in which you've been connected and supportive of this community. And on behalf of all of the staff at the CSC, I want to express my gratitude and thankfulness for you. Happy Thanksgiving.